Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, and thinkers. This is LO3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Wednesday, October 18, 2017. Yeah, it's a little bit cloudy, warm, along New River of Florida. Yeah, just kicking back. Here's the bridge in the back. I have to do it like to show you the outdoors. one of those days. Afternoon to be exact. Yeah, so I know I got multiple hits on my last podcast from about Don Bean's Lazia's murder, I call it, Carmine. And I know it'd be really harsh critical when it comes to government. And I have to make this really clear because I got someone actually sent me a comment about it. They're trying to condemn the people of Malta collectively, and I never do that. This time I get really infuriated, and some people, their first-time listeners, don't really understand me, but a lot of you have. So let's just make this clear just for them. I always thank you for the input because it's always been honorable. And to be very sincere, I am not like an expert on Gladio B, but I have taken the initiative on looking at patterns and stories and sometimes unclassified documents, and I see these things going on in different perspectives. Can Malta be a hub for bigger criminal elements in the global basis? Absolutely. I'm not gonna take that off my platform. I never really have. But one thing for sure is how far the rabbit hole goes. That's one of the areas I always say. How far does it really go? And on another hand too is war in journalism, because this is just another example. Miss Scalise was a victim of that. She's just an example. And Michael Hastings from the United States, when they said, "Oh yeah, he died on auto accident," but it was something went off, detonated his vehicle, or some witnesses, especially when the motor went like 30, 40 feet roughly in front of him. How come Mercedes never recalled their vehicles? Yeah, that's the question. This is why I always say, expect criminal elements in these particular institutions. Are there good folks in government? Yeah, I'm not going to argue about that at all, even including the ones in Malta. And it was funny because I never, take the initiative on looking them up. So I went on Britannica. I just did the basics. It's intriguing history in that beautiful island along the Mediterranean. But I always tell the brothers and sisters out there in Malta, be vigilant, don't be afraid. And Prime Minister may be a good man. Yeah, I'm not going to make any judgment. But the whole thing is, my friends, you got to be vigilant, because if you study history of government, they can be one dangerous entity. They could pull a lot of fast ones and find a scapegoat. If you study the history of death by government, for an example, it goes a lot broader than that. That's why even in the United States, when Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, he made that statement: if our government goes under usurpation, it's the people have an obligation to overthrow it. So that's always been the United States of America's heritage. You never trust the government as part of our culture, and everyone's is different. But one thing I don't want to see is her legacy die in vain. To any other beautiful individuals out there is trying to expose the truth. She did have powerful enemies. It's nothing new. And going to the authorities on Gladio B, they can actually look it up themselves. Take the time to actually read this and learn it. There's plenty of information out there, even in Malta itself, to get this information. So, but I do like to thank that person for putting that comment out there on my YouTube page. I appreciate it. And if anyone out there have more information pertaining to this case or other areas, hey, send it to me. Don't be shy. I love have people share information with me and vice versa. That's how I do my show. It's like people share their thoughts and views, agree or not, but as long as it's in decorum, I admire that dearly. Because honorable discussions create a healthier dialogue. They want us divided, my friends, so they can rule over us. But that is my rant on that, honorable rant on that area. So, but I'd like to thank everyone for checking out that episode and share it with everyone else. I'd be greatly appreciated. I'm just like Thomas Paine, you know. I'm like Paul Revere. Just spread the word, and that's what really counts. But hopefully, pray for her family, the Gazia clan, and anyone else that loved her. Don't give up on freedom of expression, not just in Malta, but around the world. Because the war on journalism is just another example of the war on terror. They consider investigative journalists terrorists, and anyone else that are critical thinkers say, we're the bad guys, we're the wicked ones, we're the rebel rousers. A little rebellion now and then is good, Thomas Jefferson once quoted. But can this be the biggest mistake for these criminals done to her? Now with technology, it's hard for them to hide it. Utilize it there, my friends, and make things right. So, enough of that. So, I'm going to be actually doing an article that came out today. There's a few things I'm going to be talking about. Including the Kennedy files. Looks like the CIA, there's a claim the CIA don't want those released. I wonder why. I guess it's because you don't have enough time to edit it. Maybe shredding. We don't know. So, first thing I'm going to be talking about is from NewsBuzz, which is an exclusive. So, if you want to read the article, my friends, subscribe to newsbuzz.com. They're a community-based news website. People fund it. No corporate interest, non-partisan, across the board. And this one here is the title. This is how tyranny rises and freedom falls. The experiment in freedom is failing. By John Whitehead from the Rumford Institute. It says here, a little quote. Every day I ask myself the same question. How can this be happening in America? How can people like these be in charge of our country? If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I think I was having a hallucination. That was a little quote from Philip Watt. It's easy to be distracted right now by the circus politics that have dominated the news headlines for the past year. But don't be distracted. Don't be fooled, not even a little, no matter how tempting it seems, just to take a peek. We're just subjected to the oldest con game in the books. Magicians, sleight of hand that keeps you focused on the shell game in front of you while your wallet is being picked clean by the ruffians in your midst. This is how tyranny rises and freedom falls. What characterizes the American government today is not so much dysfunctional politics, as it is ruthlessly contrived governance carried out behind the entertaining, distracting, and disingenuous curtain of political theater. And what political theater is diabolically Shakespearean at times, full of sound and fury, yet in the end signify nothing. We are being ruled by a government of scoundrels, spies, thugs, thieves, gangsters, ruffians, rapists, extortionists, bounty hunters, battle-ready warriors, and cold-blooded killers who communicated using the language of force and oppression. That is the language of criminals, I would say, right? Our nation of sheep has and was foretold given rise to a government of wolves. The U.S. government now poses a great threat to our freedoms. More than terrorism, more than extremism, more than gun violence and organized crime, even more than the perceived threat posed by any single politician. The U.S. government remains a greater menace to the life, liberty, and property of its citizens than any of the so-called dangers from which the government claims to protect us. That has been true of virtually every occupant of the White House in recent years. Unfortunately, nothing has changed for the better since Donald Trump ascended to the Oval Office. Indeed, Trump may be the smartest move yet by the powers that be to keep the citizenry divided and at each other's throats. Because as long as we're busy fighting each other, we'll never manage to present a unified front against tyranny in any form. As American satirist H.L. Mencken predicted almost a century ago, all the odds are on the man who is intrinsically most devious and mediocre, the man who can most adeptly disperse the notion that his mind is a virtual vacuum. The president tends year by year to go to such men. As democracy is perfected, the office of president represents more and more closely the inner soul of the people. Some great and glorious days, the plain folks of the land will reach their heart's desire at last, and the White House will be adorned not by a downright moron. That's the quote. In other words, nothing has changed, folks. The facts speak for themselves. We're being robbed blind by government of thieves. Americans no longer have any real protection against government agents empowered to seize private property at will. For instance, police agencies under the guise of asset forfeiture laws are taking Americans' personal property based on a little more than suspicion of criminal activity and keeping it for their own profit and gain. In one case, police seized $3,000 from a manager of a Christian rock band that was touring to raise money for an orphanage in Thailand. Despite finding no evidence of wrongdoing, police kept the money. Homeowners are losing their homes over non-payment of taxes for as little as $400 owed. The municipal bills, such as water or sewer fees, that amount to a fraction of what they have invested in their public homes. And then there's the Drug Enforcement Agency, which has been searching train and airline passengers and pocketing their cash without never charging them with a crime. We're being taken advantage of by a government of scoundrels, idiots, and cowards. Mencken calculated that Congress consists of 1/3 more or less scoundrels, 2/3 more or less idiots, and 3/3 more or less poltroons. By and large, Americans seem to agree. When you've got government representatives who spent a large chunk of their work hours fundraising, being fed by lobbyists, shuffling through a lucrative revolving door between public service and lobbying, and making themselves available to anyone with enough money to secure access to a congressional office. You're in the clutches of corrupt oligarchy. Mind you, these same elected legislation that actually help the plight of the American citizen, more often than not, the legislation lands this citizenry in worse straits. We're being locked up by a government of greedy jailers. We have become a colossal state, spending 3 times more on our prisons than on our schools and imprisoning close to a quarter of the world's prisoners. Despite the fact that crime is at an all-time low, and the U.S. makes up only 5% of the world's population, the rise of over-criminalization and profit-driven private prisons provides even greater incentives for locking up American citizens for such violent crimes as having a overgrown lawn. As the Boston Review points out, America's temporary system of policing, courts, imprisonment, and parole makes money through asset forfeiture, lucrative public contracts from private service providers, and by directly extracting revenue and unpaid labor from the populations of the color and the poor in states and municipalities throughout the country. The criminal justice system defrays costs by forcing prisoners and their families to pay for punishment. It also allows private sector providers to charge outrageous fees for everyday needs such as telephone calls. As a result, people facing minor criminal charges can easily find themselves trapped in a self-perpetuating cycle of debt, criminalization, and incarceration. Even when it comes to victimless crime laws, these private management parasites, such as the Correctional Corporations of America and Geo Group, those are two examples, don't give a damn about you. As long as you make them dumb, fat, dumb, and happy. So this is why, my friend, I get real touchy in these areas. We're being spied on by a government of peeping toms. The government is watching everything you do, reading everything you write, listening to everything you say, and monitoring everything you spend. Omnipresent surveillance is paving the way for government programs that profile citizens, document their behavior, and attempt to predict what they might do in the future. Whether it is what they might buy, what politicians might buy, support, or what kind of crimes they might commit. The impact of this far-reaching surveillance, according to Psychology Today, is reduced trust, increased conformity, and even diminished civic participation. As technology analyst Jillian C. York concludes, mass surveillance without due process, whether undertaken by the government of Bahrain, Russia, the U.S., or anywhere, Bahrain, Russia, the U.S., or anyone else in between. Threats to stifle and smother that dissent, leaving is in the wake of populace cowed by fear. Fear, fear, fear. That's the name of the game. Ignorance brings you fear. We're being ravaged by a government of ruffians, rapists, and killers. It's not just the police shooting of unarmed citizens that are worrisome. It is SWAT team raids gone wrong. More than 80,000 annually that are leaving innocent citizens wounded, children terrorized, and family pets killed. It is the roadside strip searches, in some cases, cavity searches of men and women alike, carried out in full view of the public, in pursuit of drugs that are never found. It is potentially lethal and unwarranted. Use of so-called non-lethal weapons such as tasers on children for mouthing off to a police officer, for trying to run from the principal's office, for at the age of 12 getting into a fight with another girl. Is this insane or what? We're being forced to surrender our freedoms and those of our children to a government of extortionists, money launderers, and professional pirates. The American people have repeatedly been sold a bill of goods about how government needs more money, more expansive powers, and more secrecy, secret courts, secret budget, secret military campaigns, secret surveillance in order to keep us safe. Under the guise of fighting its war on terror, drugs, and now domestic extremism, the government has spent billions of taxpayer dollars, and on endless wars that have not ended terrorism, but merely sown the seed of blowback. Surveillance programs have caught few terrorists while subjecting all Americans to a surveillance society and militarized police that have done little to decrease crime while turning communities into war zones. Not surprisingly, the primary ones to benefit from these government excise and illegal money laundering have been the corporations, lobbyists, and politicians who inflict them on a trusting public. I see this a lot, my friends. And I don't just go and complain and do it and not do anything. I call them out on it. Even politicians in my city, I criticize them for it. They don't like it, but I don't care. Even some of the police officers that had that mindset, like they have authority over everyone, we're just their peasants. Like, good amount of them. I'm not gonna say all, because that would be bias. But the truth of the matter is, they're being trained more aggressively, and even Dale Carson made that statement on his book, Arrest Proof Yourself. So vigilance is the key in that area, my friends. You don't go belly up and go, okay, master, okay, boss. You're not a bunch of field peasants or house peasants. You're beautiful individuals out there that have the power that can enhance and inspire others. And I'm going to continue on here in this article. We're being held at gunpoint by a government of soldiers, a standing army, as if it weren't enough that the American military empire stretches around the globe and continues to leech much needed resources from the American economy. The U.S. government is creating its own standing army of militarized police and teams of weaponized bureaucrats. These civilian employees are being armed to the hilt with guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment authorized to make arrests and trained in military tactics. Among the agents being supplied with night vision equipment, body armor, hollow point bullets, shotguns, drones, assault rifles, and LP gas cannons. All the Smithsonian, U.S. Mint, Health and Human Services, IRS, FDA, Small Business Administration, Social Security Administration, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That's NOAA. What do they do? They do weather. You got a train coming by. Education Department, Energy Department, Bureau of Engraving and Imprinting, and assortment of public universities. They are now reportedly more bureaucratic, non-military government civilians armed with high-tech deadly weapons than U.S. Marines. That doesn't even begin to touch on the government's arsenal, the transformation of local police into extensions of the military, and the speed with which the nation could be locked down under martial law depending on the circumstances. So, they can do that, they can get these certain weapons, but if we do it, we consider being criminals. Can you say blasphemy? Whether else it may be danger, a menace, a threat, the U.S. government is certainly no friend of freedom. To the detriment to criminal class that Mark Twain mockingly referred to as Congress has since expanded to include every government agency that feeds off the carcass of once our Constitution Republic. The government and its cohorts have conspired to ensure that only real recourse the American people have to hold the government accountable or express their displeasure with the government is through voting, which no real recourse at all. So you vote, you did your duty, now go back to sleep. Consider it. The penalties for civil disobedience, whistleblowing, and rebellion are severe. If you refuse to pay your taxes for government programs you believe to be immoral or illegal, you will go to jail. If you attempt to overthrow the government or an agency thereof because you believe it has overstepped its reach, you will go to jail. If you attempt to blow the whistle on government misconduct, you will go to jail. In some circumstances, if you even attempt to approach your elected representative to voice your discontent, you can be arrested and jailed. Sounds familiar? Political prisoners. Yeah, look what's going on in Catalonia. People are being thrown in jail by the Spanish government with their Francoistic mentality for want to be separate or have autonomy from Spain. Can you blame them? Absolutely not. You cannot have a Republican form of government, not a Democratic one for that matter. When the government views itself as superior to the citizenry, when it no longer operates for the benefit of the people, when the people are no longer able to peacefully reform the government, when government officials cease to act like public servants, when elected officials no longer represent the will of the people, the government routinely violates the rights of the people and it perpetrates more violence against citizenry than the criminal class. Government spending is unaccountable and unaccounted for. The judiciary act as courts of order rather than justice, or when the government is no longer bound by the laws of the Constitution. For too long, people have obeyed the government's dictates, no matter now unjust. We have paid its taxes, penalties, and fines, no matter how outrageous. We have tolerated its indignities, insults, and abuses, no matter how egregious. We have turned a blind eye to its indiscretions and incompetence, no matter how imprudent. We have held our silence in the face of its lawlessness, licentiousness, and corruption, no matter how illicit. Or how we have suffered. How long we will continue to suffer depends on how much we're willing to give up for the sake of freedom. It may be well that Professor Morris Berman is correct. Perhaps we're entering into the dark ages that signify the final phase of the American Empire. It seems to be right, Berman, that people do get the government they desire. Alright. Sorry about that. Let me see here. Get the government they deserve, and beyond that, government who they are, so to speak. In that regard, we might consider an extreme version of this, that Hitler was as much an expression of the German people at that point in time as he was a departure from them. For the moment, the American people seem content to sit back and watch the reality TV programming that passes for politics today. It's the modern day equivalent of bread and circuses, a carefully collaborated exercise in how to manipulate, polarize, propagandize, and control a population. As French philosopher S.D. de la Baudet observed half a millennium ago, play farces, spectacles, gladiators, strange beasts, medals, pictures, and other such opiates. These were for ancient peoples the bait toward slavery, the price of their liberty, the instrument of tyranny. By these practices and enticements, the ancient dictators so successfully lured their subjects under the yoke that the stupefied peoples, fascinated by the pastime and vain pleasures flashed before their eyes, learned subservience as naively, but not so credibly, as little children learn to read by looking at bright picture books. The bait towards slavery, price of liberty, the instruments of tyranny. Actually, that was a quote before that one paragraph. Yes, that sounds about right. We the people learn only too well how to be slaves. Worse, we have come to enjoy our voluntary servitude, which masquerades as citizenship. Unfortunately, as I point out in my book, Battlefield America, The War in American People, we weren't able to sustain this fiction much longer. Things fall apart, wrote W.B. Yeats in his dark, forbidding poem, The Second Coming. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosened upon the world. Surely some revelation is at hand. Wake up, America, and break free of your chains. Something wicked this way comes. Yep. That's the name of the game, my friends, in the United States and the world. It's okay to say no. It's okay to defy. You're going to get hit, beat on, maybe thrown in jail, but it doesn't mean the movement dies. Believe it or not, things are happening. There's going to be there's a big spiritual warfare is happening in this century that has accelerated. We can all start on a local level. That's the United States, but other places you got. I don't know what your constitution is, but you can do the same. Make the difference. Make impact. Create waves. Inspire people. Not change, but inspire. Either one of the areas are always gets to me. Don't get me wrong, I scratch my head all the times as well. Because, oh, it's not going to happen, nothing's going to change. See, they're like the Doubtful Thomases, the Yodels, the yes people of the world. You don't need to do that. I don't. We can all make a difference in our own attitude. That's always the name of the game. And I'm like someone from the Jungle Queen on a boat. Little ferry boat, Jungle Queen here. Yeah, so they're just River Queen. So, a little tourist time. Gonna pick up here next month or so in South Florida. But the truth of the matter is, my friends, we can all make waves. Don't be a slave. Knowledge is freedom. Ignorance is enslavement. I gotta give. Always enjoy Mr. Whitehead's commentary. So, that's a pretty long segment there. Wow. All right. Next one here. Came from the Duran. Came out yesterday. Duran.com. Got this from Blacklisted News. Good site, blacklistednews.com. Give a shout out to Doug Owens. Tell him Look Third endorses you. He knows who I am. Alright, so this here, CIA urges POTUS Trump to delay release of 3,000 never seen before documents of assassination of John F. Kennedy. Experts fear the release of secret JFK assassination documents. Oh, really? And who wrote this? Alex Christopherow. More than 3,000 never before seen documents from the FBI, CIA, and Justice Department on the assassination of John F. Kennedy are scheduled to be released. With any experts fearing that a large release of secret JFK assassination documents will spur a new generation of conspiracy theories. According to Roger Stone, the CIA is urging President Donald Trump to delay disclosing some of the files for another 25 years. Roger Stone said in the post on his website, they must reflect boldly on CIA even through virtually everyone involved is long dead. Newsmax reports. More than 3,000 never be seen before documents from the CIA, FBI, and Justice Department are set to be released, along with 30,000 that have only been partially released in the past. The document dump will simply fuel a new generation of conspiracy theories, right? Philip Sheehan and Larry J. Sabato. Sabato is the director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics and author of The Kennedy Half Century, and Sheehan is a former reporter for the New York Times and author of The Cool and Shocking Act, The Secret History of the Kennedy Assassination. The CIA is urging President Trump to delay disclosing some of the files for another 25 years, according to a friend and political advisor, Roger Stone, but the National Archives would not say whether any agency have appealed the release of the documents. According to Gateway Pundit, Roger Stone and Gerald Posner, of two New York Times bestselling authors who are polar opposites about who killed JFK, have joined together to urge Donald Trump to release all the remaining classified files on the Kennedy assassination. About 3,100 files are sealed in the National Archives. Under the 1992 JFK Records Act, the archives have until October 26 to decide on which of those files to be publicly disclosed. Some of the classified documents include a CIA personality study of Oswald, top secret testimony of former CIA officers to congressional committees, transcript of interrogations with Soviet defector and Oswald handler Yuri Dasenko, letters about the case from J. Edgar Hoover and Jackie Kennedy, the CIA file on Jack Wasserman, and the attorney of Jack Wasserman, the attorney for New Orleans mob boss Carlos Marcello, and the operational file on E. Howard Hunt, career spy and Watergate burglar. Roger Stone, in his best-selling 2013 The Man Who Killed Kennedy, the case against LBJ, set forth the case that LBJ was the mastermind of the plot that included CIA, the mob, and big Texas oil to kill Kennedy. Gerald Posner, in his 1993 best-selling finalist for the Pulitzer for History, Case Closed, the Harvard Oswald and Kennedy and the assassination of JFK, concluded that the Warren Commission conclusions are correct and Oswald acted alone and killed Kennedy. Well, I'm not going to read the book, so I don't buy that damn story. While they might not agree who killed Kennedy, Stone and Posner are long-lasting advocates for the release of all government files on the assassination. These files have been released long ago, says Posner. The government does this all the time, over classified documents, and then holds on to them for decades after the guise of national security, and the secrecy just feeds people's suspicions that the government has something to hide and adds fuel to conspiracy theories. Posner is convinced the case will still be closed and when the last document is made public. I know the CIA director Pompeo is urging the president to delay the release of these records for another 25 years, said Stone. They must reflect badly on the CIA, even though virtually everyone involved is long dead. Stone believes the evidence supporting the case in his book is still hidden somewhere in the government files. Both arguments are called on President Trump, who is empowered to make the final decision. Should the National Archives and CIA balk on releasing all the files to opt for transparency? One thing about these files, how accurate are going to be? That's the one question people are going to be talking about. And I say that respectfully. So it will be very interesting, because based on what I've read and other areas as well, it's a lot bigger than what it is. Yes, he picked off so many people. He had too many enemies. I can go on this for a long time. But one thing I know for sure, as long as we got to make sure these files are transparently accurate. They could do some censorship as well. Hopefully that's not the case. This has to be addressed. People are learning about these things. Conspiracies and all that. Hey, even Abraham Lincoln, which I'm not too fond of. Big Conspiracy, interesting movie about how many people were actually involved in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. So I say, make it transparent, completely transparent, accurate, let the folks examine it and make their own judgment. I still say the banksters were involved in this as well, and many others. So, like I said, it's going to be very interesting. But I tell everyone, always observe these spots. Yep. Alright, cool. So, this next one here, I'm going to take a little break, but it will be about from Unicorn Riot. Anti-com Discord server shows months of neo-Nazi incitement. I'm going to read that, but I'll be back. Alright, so we're going to be doing that from unicornriot.com. .ninja, excuse me. Pretty cute site. Says here, Anti-com Discord server shows months of neo-Nazi incitement. Over 12 months after the murder of Heather Heyer at the neo-Nazi Unite the Right rally on August 12th, the broader neo-fascist alt-right movement has generally become fractured due to external pressures, deplatforming, and infighting. Recent attempts to hold white supremacist rallies, events have repeatedly been canceled or shut down. More recently, the Nazi front group Anti-Communist Action, Anti-Com for short, announced it was holding a torch rally with Richard Spencer in Charlotte, North Carolina on December 28th, only days later that event had been canceled for safety reasons. More recently, Anti-Com was revealed who have been contacted by Spencer requesting assistance to provide security at his appearance at the University of Florida, October 19th, which is tomorrow. And on here he talks about it. Yeah, Richard Spencer has contacted us to see everyone help pull security at his October 19th University of Florida speech. If you're interested, notify me and I'll hook you up. So, of course, someone says here, we're pleased to announce, by PennSpot, we're pleased to announce that ANYCOM will be holding its March Against Communism event this December 28th at the UNCC campus, specifically in the Dale F. Harton Arena. Expected speakers include Richard Spencer, Lauren Southern, Nathan D'Amigo, Baked Alaska, Augustus Ivicus, and possibly more. Tickets will go on sale. As part of the alt-right communication leaks obtained during the Unite the Right in Charlottesville, Unicorn Riot receives logs taken from ANYCOM's Discord chat server with messages spanning from February 2nd to September 5th, 2017. Today's release is the first part of series, and the initial data just include ANYCOM that chat from September 2nd to March 27th of 2017. ANYCOM's website, which was recently shut down, described themselves as the right response to Antifa, and that their mission is to defend our communities from radical political violence by physically resisting leftists, terrorists, and rioters. The ANYCOM chat logs show a strong theme of desire to injure and or murder anti-fascists and leftists, generally justified on the pretext of self-defense. That sounds familiar. It's like you see what's going on. It's like the battle of the anti-freedom gang, you know? A taste of plutocracy. Or plutocracy, excuse me. Plutocracy. The ANYCOM hashtag general chat channel opened up the night on February 2nd, and within minutes, the username Bungu suggested, I think a few cities should be selected to create groups to work with police and counter Antifa, and the user, ANYCOM head representative, calling it edginess to gain attention. Self-proclaimed leader of ANYCOM goes by Seth, a young white male living in or near Charlotte, North Carolina, and most copies of that chat we obtained. He instead appears with the username POTUS Trump Pepe. That was the title given to paramilitary community to Hitler's SS. POTUS Trump like sidekicks, Hitler's sidekicks. Okay. Among the first proposed symbols of the group were the backward redention of the anti-fascist action flag, colored yellow and black, and emblazoned with the words anti-communist action. You can see it for yourself. A helicopter seen the version of the flag is in reference to the helicopter rides used to execute political dissents, and often they were brutally tortured by Chile, U.S.-backed military dictatorship that existed under General Augusto Pinochet from 1973 to 1990. That started, actually, that whole coup attempt started on September 11, 1973. Yeah, I think it's called Operation Condor. Alright, just to let you folks know. 2 days later, on February 4th, the username Jung suggested ANYCOM to get rid of the helicopters so there are no needless controversy over the Pinochet and all that. However, ANYCOM has since continued to use Pinochet and the helicopter rides Mimi in his graphic. Many messages throughout the months. ANYCOM chat logs contains tributes to Pinochet. So you can see it right there. The discussion then turned to ANYCOM chat participants expressing hopes for an upcoming civil war. User named Carlene speculated that a massacre and a genocide would take place with the military on our side. I see some plants in here to be very sincere. Sounds like like some of the plants and the provocateurs and Antifa as well. You see what I'm? You understand what I'm? Hopefully you understand what I'm observing here. It can tell you all about it. While the server was still in its first day of use, Anticom chat user Odorless Refrain posted about the need to drive the desert invader out and proceed to recommend bombing of a major federal building. It's probably the Turner Diaries. Now, February 2nd, the user GoGo voiced in the Anticom chat about how they got the local gay club fined and shut down for a couple of weeks by reporting them for alleged building code violations. As a report last December, neo-Nazis and other far-right elements orchestrated campaigns to get the DIY and queer-friendly venues to shut down in the wake of the ghost ship fire in Oakland. The next day, February 3rd, Anticom chat user Web Debanon outlined a 4-step plan to hunt down anti-vax. Include watching an ISIS kitchen video about how to make a bomb of household ingredients and to go to a protest disguised as Antifa with backpack and black bloc and do it Boston bomber style. I smell a lot of plants that are on their federal agents' federal payroll. Very suspicious. You know what I'm saying? I could be mistaken too. A recurring theme throughout all the conversations in the Anticom Discord server were talks of violently confronting anti-fascists and shutting down leftists and anti-fascist protests. Anticom chat users talked about their desires to conduct citizens' arrests during violent protests, beat down some commie scum who plans to eventually form Minuteman-type riot response team. Some in the chat were further and expressed explicit desires to commit murder, making statements such as "run them over, I want to kill lefties so bad." Anticom members were also keen to discuss Holocaust denial, as well as vaporized attacks on Jews, Muslims, and people of color, with many references to lynching and gas chambers. Anticom Discord's chats contained a substantial amount of hate speech. Servers log we received show 1,107 messages contained the word nigger. 445 used the word kike, and 412 references to Hitler. Sent over a span of 7 months, the phrase Hitler did nothing wrong appears 21 times. As the week and months went on after the first convening in their Discord server, Anticom members and supporters began to form a more cohesive entity with the base of real-life street fights and large-scale event organizing. Part 2 of our Anticom Discord leak reporting will release the remainder of the Anticom general chat logs, which include conversations leading up, during, and after the Unite the Right in Charlottesville. Anticom did not respond to requests for comment for this article at the time of the writing. Over the last 2 months, a team of anonymous web developers generously donated their time to create the searchable platform for Discord chat servers, with support from Unicon Riot Collective members. Is located at discordleaks.unicornriot.ninja. We are pleased to present the first version of software. There are a few bugs, but most of the content is indexed and accessible. We have made redactions to chat logs to protect the personal information of people identified as targets for harassment. Other than these minimal redactions, these logs have not been altered. There's a Discord data chat based on there. Very interesting. I do see a lot of plants in this so-called anti-com movement as well. Anti-communist action. And even in Antifa, it's like the same thing but in a different package. So, and this is why I always gotta be careful. I always gotta be careful and observant on who I go with. I'll network with organizations and movements. Some of them I have my differences with, but they appreciate my way of thinking things more deeper. But one thing for sure, just gotta say who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. Okay, who wants pop? I see a taste of plutocracy at its finest. I wouldn't fall for these movements because what I observe here There's just too many disguises, too many jack-o'-lanterns in this organization like Anti-Cop. There's even an Antifa as well. And people who remember the Antifa, I have my that know me, but I've been friends long before they ever got involved. Know where I'm coming from. So I see another game of distraction, bread and circus. See how many slaves or peasants they can bring in and do what's right. So believes that you're doing the right thing. Possible potential Jim Jones syndrome. And this is why, my friends, with the whole Spencer thing, don't shut it down. Let the freedom ring. Let him speak his mind and counter it with intellectual ammunition. Not go around use violent oppression on him. You don't get anywhere. You wouldn't achieve anything. Just to give you folks think, if you do that, you will inspire others. They will multiply. That is a fact, historical fact. If you don't study the past, you're damned to repeat it. So enough of that. Be your own individual. You don't have to be in a clique to prove your point. Alright. Oh yeah, I'm just a little bit mellowed out here. I'll be back in just one more segment, so stay tuned. Alright, cool. So I'm going to be doing one more here. Came from ArlaBestMarvelOusFloral.com. Came out yesterday. Posted by Town Career. Confiscating firearms from good people won't ever stop gun violence perpetrated by bad people. It's a two-part series. Right? Two-part? Oh, man. Yeah, a little too tired, to be very honest. So, yeah. Just another time for sure. Do another time, folks. I'm sorry. I just get ready to yawn here, get ready to fall asleep. But one thing I am going to talk about. This is I'm getting a little malfunction here. Yeah, definitely I'm going to do this another time. I promise. Alright, later on tonight. Yeah, just getting ready to fall asleep here, so forgive me. Alright, well, that's really it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you send me something that's interesting and may want to know, whatever you do, please address the correspondence to the forum. Hey, including information as well, that would be awesome. Because, like I said, we can all learn from each other, one way or another. Alright, you can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Steam.life, Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com/local third. If you're going to be a donor, patron, and all that, that'd be great. In addition, you can get me at Gab, which is gab.ai, gab.ai, and that's another freedom of speech version of Twitter. In addition, you can email me at LookingLuck3@gmail.com or through Cryptid One, LookingLuck03@4timeout.com. Woo! All right, far ahead. I'm getting ready to fall asleep. All right, my friends. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.